All right. Check. All right. Good. We're good. All right. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 2. Theoretically, of Kyros Sound. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are joined here with our great friend.
Friend.
With an R.
With an R.
Yeah.
Fen with an R. Fen with an R. Bill Coleman. Bill with one L. Bl Coleman.
Bull.
Bull.
I think you screwed up the there are 3 letters. You can just say
Anyways.
But anyway.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for
tonight.
coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tonight we're going to talk about films, as we are all film enthusiasts here. And with Bill on the show, he shares our love of the cinema. So we're like, well, let's have one of our first of many film episodes tonight. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to start off of some of our favorite films. So, Day.
All right, cool. Yeah, as we were talking about this, and if you have an interest in movies as well, likely we'll have some set videos in the future. Like, here's our very, very favorite movies and why, and maybe some different categories.
Definitely some top 10 lists will be coming.
Yeah.
So as we were talking about it, some of these ideas might just turn into their own episode, and we'll give ourselves some homework to polish that up, so that we're giving the most well-rounded responses. But for favorite movies, which really could be the top 10 anyway. But I just love movies that either challenge me to to really think about the story. Like, I like movies that I have to chew on. I like the stories that really. Let's not be those guys for the. We don't need our viewers ticking how many times people said in the story.
Yeah.
So I like movies like The Prestige, that has a lot of good.
I like that movie. David.
Yes, a lot of good twists, a lot of good just content within the story that takes you maybe by surprise or just
That's one you definitely think about.
You do.
Randomly, it'll pop up in your head, just like that. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it is.
It's just a great film,
and it is a great film. It's one so that it's about magicians, and the movie itself plays out like a great magic trick, where you have the 3 acts to the story, and there's 3 acts to a magic trick. And just like a magic trick, you kind of watch it the first time through, and you're wowed by it. But you're sort of like, whoa, that was a lot of stuff. But then once you know the twist, or you know how the trick happens, you watch it again, and it's like you're watching a different movie. It's really cool. So that's one. Children of Men is another one that makes you think, and has a lot of great cinematography too. That
movie is one of my favorite single scenes of all time.
Where he's walking through with the baby.
Yeah, the long shot.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Where they have this really incredible. I don't even know how long it is, but it's just a really great long shot. It was shot in one take. There's actually 2 scenes like that, but the second one in particular is in the middle of a war zone, and they film this whole 10-minute scene all just acting, everybody's just moving and going, and it's just one what you call long take in film, and that's got one of my favorite movie scenes. So
yeah, I remember watching that the first time through, and I there's a point to where I was like, I don't think the camera's cut at all. It's just been following him through. Shot. He's been running outside. He was in a building. Anyway, it's cool. So I like stories that challenge me, that really you have to chew on. Children of Men kind of fits this bill too, but movies that are really visually interesting too. Stories that take full advantage of the fact that they're a visual medium. So you can tell a story through a book. You can read a story, but if a film uses visuals well, I really enjoy films like that. I like a lot of animated movies. Some of my favorite movies are we'll probably talk about Hayao Miyazaki and you have to.
You have to.
So those movies, fan of Pixar and Disney and all of that.
Yeah.
But I guess cap off my piece. Some of my favorite movies are just movies that are just fun, because movies, as great art as they could be, movies are also just for fun. So some of the best movies I've watched tons of times that just make me laugh, or I don't know, they're dumb. Yeah. They can be, but they're super fun. So some of the highest held movies in my mind are Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and Nacho Libre and Hot Rod, because I can watch that no matter how many times I watch it. I will still I'll still enjoy it. So
fantastic. All right, so give us a couple. Give us one of your top favorites. You talked about movies that you liked, but like what about movies you like? But like, give us a movie now. Like, give us a movie. Give us a movie, Day Day.
Okay, besides Hot Rod or Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and Nacho Libre?
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Day Day. Why is it up there?
Oh boy. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is about as perfect a movie as you can have because it is.
Bold statement.
It is.
Bruce Campbell and Mr. T.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
Wow.
That is one big mare.
Yep, that is one big mare.
So yeah, the cast is great. Even if, I think animated movies can get passed up sometime or like overlooked for their acting credibility just because it's animated.
Right. They're more youthful.
Sure,
more
childlike. They're seen as like kids movies, and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs fits the bill for a kids movie, but it's just a good movie. You don't have to be a kid to enjoy it.
Yeah.
But the cast is great. The voice acting is really phenomenal. They just have a lot of fun. You can tell that everyone is having fun making the movie, and that comes through. The movie's very, very colorful. The sound design in that movie is really good too. So if you haven't watched it, if you have good speakers, it's actually like really cool to listen to.
The tornado sequence.
Which
is all great.
Right. And there's just a lot of really good. It's a movie that is so surprisingly funny. Like I remember watching the preview for that and just thinking it looked kind of stupid. It really
is. It really is surprising. Like hilarious, and then it's more hilarious the more you watch it.
Really?
And it's like a 3-dimensional funny.
Yeah.
Like there's like background stuff going on, and it's like clever. Like there's things you will not catch the first time you watch it, which is super impressive for a comedy. Like
it is. They worked like it was done with care. So every scene, that's one of the movies where just every scene there's something really enjoyable. They don't miss a beat with it. So and it's just so funny. So I love that. But it strikes a good balance, and I think the directors, we might kind of cut to this, but Phil Lord, Christopher Miller directed that.
Lego movie.
They did the Lego movie, which is also great. They started doing Solo, but don't get me started on that.
Yeah, we're not going to go down there.
Not today, we won't.
Not today.
No. But one day we will.
We will.
Movies travesties.
The great movie Tragedies. Tragedies. The great movie Tragedies.
Maybe we need to do vocal exercises before.
Bill, friend, Bill, Tragedy. Tragedy.
Maybe that'll be the name of the
Pacific
Tragedies of films
of my friend Bill.
Yeah. And there have been a few.
Yeah.
Anyways,
so
there have.
But anyway, so that's something to cap off that piece too. They're really good at, which one of my other favorite directors who we'll talk about also does a great job of. But they strike a good balance between that was really funny, but I also really care about what's happening in the story. Like the story isn't sacrificed for the sake of making me laugh. Like it all just ties together. So Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is one of those experiences where you feel for Flint and you feel for what's happening in the town and for Sam and for everything. But it's just still so funny. So
it's one of the greats.
It is one of the greats.
One of the greats.
So if you haven't seen it, if you've overlooked it, stop overlooking it. I think it's on Netflix. I think it's on streaming service. It's not hard to get to.
It's worth a look. Worth a look.
It's not long. It's like 120 minutes long. So,
Bill, what's one of your favorites?
I'm gonna stick with the animation.
Okay. All right.
One of my all-time favorite movies, and I will put it up against just about anything I've ever seen, is like kind of a measure of how much I'm going to like this movie.
I'm extremely excited right now.
The Iron Giant is one of the greatest movies I have ever seen.
Amen.
From start to finish.
I'm in. Why?
It's makes you feel like a kid when you watch it. It makes you feel like you got this big robot that you can do anything with. You can fly or create fantastical things in a junkyard. The cast is amazing.
Who's the guy who owns it? Is it Henry Connick Jr.?
Henry Connick Jr., yeah.
This is so good.
Yeah, and he does a great job too. And I never really appreciated him as an actor.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine when you're doing an anime.
What other movies has he been in? So if people don't know, they've got like a face.
Independence Day.
Who did he play in Independence Day?
He played Will Smith's friend that got blown up like immediately. Like right away in the jet.
Oh yeah. Isn't he like a Christian? Like, does he like gospel stuff? Like kind of Christian? Like,
well, he does all different kinds of music, but I don't know that he's actually a Christian.
That's what I thought.
It would be cool. Because he's cool.
Yeah. We could look that up.
We could look that up.
Yeah.
I'm sure Google could tell us the religious state of, what's his name?
Harry Connick Jr.
What is the religious state of Harry Connick Jr., Google? Please tell me.
Might be disappointed, though.
I don't know. Anyways. Yeah, okay. Fantastic. What else about the film? What else about it sets it so high?
The art style is incredible. The color palette that they choose to use is like total Americana. It's not quite washed out, but it's almost there. It feels like something that you grew up with. And a kid running around with a BB gun, finding this amazing giant robot. It's one of the most magical films I've ever seen.
That's awesome. Is that a Disney film?
It is not.
It is not.
It's not Disney.
No.
What is it?
Is that
Warner Brothers.
Was it Warner Brothers?
Yeah, it's Brad Bird who directed it.
You're right. The Incredibles.
He went to school with John Lasseter, who ended up working at Disney, and then Brad went his own way to Warner Brothers and blah, 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 movie history. But then John Lasseter starts Pixar eventually and invites Brad Bird to be a part of Pixar later on. But before that happened, he made The Iron Giant at Warner Brothers.
If I made that, I would just spike it and be like, that's it. I don't need to make anything else. It's that good.
Yeah.
That's your David, your Sistine Chapel.
As an artist, that would be it. And surprising, Vin Diesel is the voice of the robot. It's Vin Diesel.
What?
It's super cool.
It is really good.
So that's like his thing, is just like things that make noises. Like,
animated characters that have few lines.
They have few lines. That's like his thing.
That's
a great thing. That's a great thing to have.
Superman.
I think another actor that does a really good job at that is Tom Hardy in Mad Max, where he just
Mm-hmm.
and he says everything with that grunt. It's incredible.
Yeah,
but Vin Diesel does that all the way through Iron Giant. And that's cool because he's kind of learning. He got a bump on the head, so he's learning how to talk and walk and all these things. It's just a great movie.
That's awesome.
Really yeah.
Iron Giant. Watch it.
Top pick.
When we do the animated list, the list of the top however many animated movies, I've had a list. A friend of mine and I made a list of our top 20 animated movies before, and The Iron Giant, I think is actually in my top 10. I don't even think it's in the top 20.
I'll have to give it another.
It's really, really good.
I watched it, but I think I only watched it once when I was very young. And the thing I remember the most was the hand in the toilet paper. Yep. Like when he's like when he's like in the John, like pulling the toilet paper down. That's like what I mostly. That's my highlight.
Good. That's another one too. That's like, it's genuinely funny when it is funny, but you care a lot about the robot and about Hogarth and about everything that's going on. Hog hug. It's good. That's
great.
A measure of how good that is I've purchased it 4 times. I got the DVD. I got the special edition DVD. I couldn't find either one, so I bought it digitally, and I just bought it on Blu-ray because it was on. Yeah. For some crazy reason, it's on sale for $5. That movie should cost $50.
Because people don't have taste.
Yeah. Well, Warner Brothers. I don't think they knew what to do with it when they. I think they just was like, oh, it's just a cartoon. It's just a cartoon movie. Good. When all these other studios are doing computer, because that was like in the late '90s. So Toy Story had happened, and DreamWorks had a couple cell animated movies in the docket too, but they started making the push for computer animated movies, and I think Warner Brothers was like, "What is this pile of garbage? Cell animated movie for kids."
It's like my dad's movie.
My kids, thank God I had Stella, my daughter. She watches animated movies with me whenever I want. She's so great, but the 2 older boys, it was a struggle to get them to watch anything that somebody may have drawn. It's got to be, this computer animation, which I'm sure involves a lot of talent. I'm sure it does, but there's a lot lost.
Yeah, it's just a different art form.
Yeah, it's different, but I still love a hand drawn cartoon.
Yeah,
it's cooler.
Yeah. And I definitely see just with how like culture cycles, like things always end up cycling. Like you definitely know that we're probably coming up to a point to where like all of Pixar's movies are going to be like hand drawn because it's going to be like the retro, like it's going to be
That's
the cool
interesting.
old quality thing. Because isn't that what their most recent one? Doesn't it kind of look like that?
What's the most recent?
The Soul?
Onward?
No, the one that's coming.
Soul. I don't know much about Soul, but
I
that would be
something.
what an interesting thing. What a revolutionary thing. Pixar makes a cell animated movie. That probably would be like a game changer. Like they started it with computer animation, and then they're like, huh.
So we've done the cool guys there.
We've done the cool ones.
You
just said it. Yeah.
Cool.
That's what I think is going to happen. So.
Hey, I'm in.
Yeah,
you heard it here first.
All right. Well, then what about you?
Well, one of my favorites that I'm going to go right to that I think is a little more obscure one that not a lot of people know is called Hunt for the Wilder People. One of my favorite films, filmed in 2017 by one of my favorite directors. The guy's name is Taika Waititi. Taika Waititi.
So let it be written.
He is from New Zealand and he's Maori. And he has predominantly worked in New Zealand for most of his career, making New Zealand films. I don't think a lot of people would know some of his films, but he's done one. He's done The Flight of the Conchords.
Was pretty big.
I mean his Australia, or his New Zealand ones. So he's done a lot. He's done a movie called Boy. He's done Flight of the Conchords. He did What We Do in the Shadows. Oh. His big, his really big film in New Zealand was Hunt for the Wilder People. And like I said, 2017, I think it was 2016. I think it was nominated for. Oh, I think it was up in 2017 for the.
Another episode would be the disappointment with the Academy.
Our disappointment with the Academy.
Absolutely. But we're starting with Warrior when that sucker comes out.
Oh, Warrior!
Starting with Warrior.
That's another favorite movie. That's in my top 10. That's a spoiler. There you go. Warrior. We must
let that lay.
We'll get there.
That's a show in itself.
If you want to hear two people just
rant about a movie named Warrior.
That movie is so good. It is so good.
Yeah, not Warriors.
And he will fight anyone that says otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like in the movie.
I'll make you cry like Nick Nolte makes you cry.
Good movie. So what were we talking about?
I feel like you guys need to really just process.
You got to decompress.
You do.
You guys need to go take a walk. Perhaps. I got this for a little bit. You guys need to just go take a smoke or something. I
think I just need to play that song from the end of the movie and just
carrying his brother
it's okay.
out.
Yeah, it's okay. Man. It's okay.
I love you, Tommy.
As he starts snapping his shoulder.
It's really good.
What a good movie.
It's really good.
Wow. All right. Well.
So, Taika Waititi.
So anyway, which is also a great film. Very, very good film.
Apparently not as emotional as Warrior.
It's just a different experience, but this is
different experience.
in the vein of the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs again. It's one that's Taika strikes the balance between that was hilarious and then whoa my gosh,
he does
pretty sad.
I know that the kid is kind of the central character in that movie, but for me, Sam Neill was phenomenal in that film. Just great. It's one of my favorite things he's ever done. And, he's done 1,000 movies. And that one, for me, stands out as just a really endearing role from him.
Yeah.
Just the grumpy old man. It's kind of cliche, but the way he does it, it's just so genuine in that film. Mm-hmm. Just a great performance all around. And I'm sure that has a lot to do with the director, too. Look at George Lucas. He has a talent for taking good actors and making them suck.
Oh.
Star Wars movies. Garbage.
Whew.
Anyone that can make Samuel L. Jackson terrible should not be directing it.
Anyone who has Samuel L. Jackson in 3 films and you use him sitting in a chair, deliberating politics, and that's really what you do with him. You have a couple scenes where he has
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit of a waste.
Deep in the weeds on that one.
What does that mean?
We kind of wandered off.
I got it.
There's a lot of passion when it comes to Star Wars with our generations.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of passion. I feel like I should probably ask about this Warrior movie more then, because this seemed to provoke quite a strong emotional reaction in you.
Did you say your piece about Wilder People?
Yes.
Okay.
Warrior.
All right.
Well, who starts?
So let's just start here, okay? what sets the movie apart. Give me one thing. Like, what's the heartbeat of the movie? Like, this is what sets it apart.
Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte.
I agree.
The performance of a lifetime. That is another. I would spike it and just be done after that. It was that good for me, at least. And I know we've talked and watched the movie together 3 or 4 times. I think
it's really good. Yeah, Nick Nolte is another actor who's been around for a long time, and he's a good actor. He's been in a lot of stuff, but this role was. So Warrior is it's a fighting movie, maybe in the vein of like a Rocky-ish feeling movie, a different type of fighting. It's MMA. And it's a movie that's also, it can be taken a bit cheesily, perhaps, as some of the plot like goes on with the fights itself.
It's a movie that women immediately dismiss.
Yeah, sure.
There's like blows getting traded, and they're just like, bah, and they're done.
Yeah.
But if you stay for the heart of the movie,
it's really, really good. So it's a fighting movie that's not really about the fighting. It's about these two brothers who are distanced through that you hear about their life and their story as the movie goes on. So I suppose the main characters that you follow are the brothers. Mm-hmm. But you intro the movie, and who carries the movie on his back is Nick Nolte, the dad, and it's just, I think it just resonates with, we're created for a relationship, and so many people have damaged relationships with people, but with their fathers or with their sons, or just, men are not great with emotions all the time.
No.
So you have Nick Nolte, whose character you find out was just abusive and a drunk and just a really bad guy.
Yeah.
Who, according to like the beginning of the movie, you see him driving in his car. He's got like a cross hanging from his mirror. He talks about how he's like been alcohol free for like a couple years now. He's like making these like strides.
1,000 days or something.
Yeah, I think it's the 1,000th day this movie starts out with. And he's trying his hardest to like connect with his sons and like make up for the years of like hurt. And
because he totally knows what he did.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even really, I don't think he tries to apologize at all, because I think he knows what he did, and he, rather than just as guy, I'm sorry, he's just trying to rekindle these relationships with his sons that haven't seen him in years. Mm-hmm. Probably since I think they said before he went into rehab was the last time they saw him. So
yeah. And it's just painful because the sons are great characters too. It's Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton play the sons, and they do a great job, and they're in different stages of their life too. And you see their struggles and their family and their everything.
Joel Edgerton played Uncle Owen in Star Wars.
It's true, he did in the new movies.
Anyways,
full circle.
But so you get a good window into all their lives. The performances by everybody in that movie, I think that's really what sets it apart. The heart and like the actors just really, they nail it. But
even what's his name? Frank Rizzo, is that his name?
Is it the principal guy?
No, the guy that's like a real MMA guy in real life. Frank something.
The guy's with Tommy. The guy who like he's really good too. He was the guy that was in the Avengers too. Yeah. Anyway, the thing so you have Nick Nolte. He's really trying to rekindle with his sons, but the sons are hurt, and you have these scenes where you're like, man, Nick is like apologizing, and they just like they abuse him back, like the hurt people stuff.
Yeah,
and you just have these moments of like, there's an opportunity to forgive, or there's an opportunity to like make things better.
Yeah,
but they just can't
do it. They put him through the gauntlet.
They put him through all this. Yeah, they end up, because of their hurt, they like do to him what he did to.
He shows up at one of the boys' house, and he hadn't even seen one of his granddaughters, and the other one had grown, and he's standing out there. He's like, is that, I can't remember their names.
Yeah.
She's gotten so big. And when his son's going into the house, his daughter's like, who is that? And he's like, just some old man.
Yeah. Like, won't let him see the daughter.
Kill you.
Well, so anyway, so you see the relationships grow, and the story is very impacted by the relationships of the three and amongst this fighting tournament and amongst all this stuff. But it's another movie that kind of takes you by surprise. It one that kind of just came out of nowhere, and was incredible.
I watched it illegally online the first time.
Mazel tov to
you. That's
the
way to do it.
Because I was like, I don't know what this is. I don't even know these guys. And then, wow.
I don't even know these guys.
So then the final piece to that is we've all talked about like Academy Award stuff and who we think. So I know for Bill and I, probably the ultimate Academy Award crime is the fact that Nick Nolte, who was nominated for an Academy Award for this movie, by the way, did not win.
Should have moonwalked.
Should have.
Up to the stage. Spun.
Almost like no competition won this award this year. But he lost to Christopher Plummer in a movie called Beginners, where Christopher Plummer plays a gay guy. He's in the movie a little bit. And so he won.
What, he's in that movie for like 10 minutes?
He's in the movie for like 10 minutes.
I'm gay. Well, you deserve to win.
Here's an Oscar.
You should win for that. If only Nick Nolte would have kissed a guy in that movie.
Then he would have had it.
He would have had that award.
So
down.
we have our beef with some of the things that get prioritized with the Academy Awards.
Some of that woke culture.
Well, like that the last one that I remember kind of paying attention to with that Korean movie that won. Parasite.
I haven't seen Parasite.
Since when is this foreign movie not best foreign picture? How does it? I don't know. Makes no sense to me. It's not supposed to work that way.
Yeah, I haven't seen.
That's a whole nother show.
I haven't seen Parasite. But.
Interesting.
But anyway, Warrior. The moral of that is another one that you might have overlooked or not know about is Warrior. Mm-hmm. And it is very much worth it.
Yeah, if you're a fan of Rocky, that's right up there. Rocky 1 and 2, I should say. Because it started getting kind of cheesy after that. But the first two Rockies.
3 did have Mr. T.
Rocky Balboa.
I liked 3.
Yeah, with Mr. T. Yeah. But it started kind of moving into the...
Oh, wait, no. Which one was the one with the Russian?
That's 4.
I liked 4, too.
In 3, it kind of made this shift.
I never seen 3, actually.
Well, it had Mr. T.
I watched 1, 2, and 4. A little bit of 5.
5 is garbage. It's not even
I didn't watch
house.
the whole thing. It's not even a real
so
movie.
Terrible. 1 and 2, he's fighting this opponent, Apollo Creed, and it's great. Those 2 movies are just wonderful. It's believable. And then in 3, they start bringing in like these superhuman competitors that Rocky must train like he's never trained before to overcome these guys. And it kind of takes away from the first 2 movies where Rocky is just this guy. And he's going up against a big dog, and he's just got to try and make this work. Yeah. And it's really just his drive that overcomes this guy more than even his physical prowess, because Apollo Creed in the movie should have just destroyed him. Yeah. And I think that was all lost after that until Rocky Balboa, where he came out of retirement. I really like that one because it had the same feel to it. It was very nostalgic of the first 2. And I like 3 and 4. I do. And I'll watch them, but 1, 2, and 5, I think, stand out for me in that series. Just because it feels more like Rocky. Yeah. And Creed 1 and 2 sucks.
Not a fan of Creed.
No, not good.
Interesting. Not good. I haven't actually watched them, but
I like Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
I think he's a great actor. Yeah. Those movies suck. Yeah.
But and it's the whole it's the way that the Academy judges movies. They can't there are countless movies that have all won Academy Awards that nobody is going to remember. And there's movies that people that are going to be remembered as long as history is a thing. Right. And they didn't win, so.
Yeah. And there's been people all throughout the history of film that have had their opinions about the Academy Awards as well. Like Marlon Brando wasn't there to show, he didn't show up when he won an Oscar. He didn't care. He had his opinions about that too. Katharine Hepburn, who won 4 Oscars or something like that. I don't think she was ever at any of the ceremonies too, because she had her.
Man, I could do a whole show on her movies. It's one of my favorite actresses.
Yeah,
she's so good.
My sister Catherine is named after Katharine Hepburn.
Really?
Yep, that's why her name is spelled the way it is, because it's exactly like Katharine Hepburn.
Wow.
But yeah, another actress who loved movies and made was that film industry was her career in her life, but had a distaste for almost the propaganda. I forget what she said about it, but I believe
I heard a story, and I'm hesitant to bring it up because I can't verify it in my brain, but apparently Michael Shannon was in the process of winning an award, and he was watching it on TV while he was sitting in a bar drinking. Like he didn't care. And he strikes me as the kind of guy that would do that. He chooses pretty neat roles.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of his.
He was in Knives Out,
which is amazing.
Which is a good film.
Great film.
So good.
Fantastic. All right, so let's transition to some of our favorite directors.
Oh, Christopher Nolan.
All right,
That's
Christopher
all three
Nolan.
of us. So
you want something to chew on, or maybe a film that you'll watch and you won't understand by the time you get to the end of it the first time. Like Tenet. So you and I saw Tenet.
Yeah.
I have not.
Not yet.
I will.
Not yet.
I will.
But that was one. It was great. It was a great ride. But it's definitely one that I want to watch again because I know that I missed a ton.
So much stuff.
While I was watching it.
That's a Christopher Nolan movie. That's great.
So Christopher Nolan, for those of you who don't know, movie director, and he is an incredibly, wildly intelligent director. So some directors leads really towards really deep character development and building and some aesthetics and some creativity and outside of the box, and he's just an incredibly creative but an analytical creative person. And so he puts in his movies these really deep, incredible plot points and ideas and concepts, and then somehow figures out an amazing way to be able to introduce an incredibly complex idea through a movie, make it interesting still, and then once you're introduced to the idea, to blow your mind with it. So he makes The Prestige. He makes a movie called Memento.
Oh, Memento was my first Nolan movie. I had the flu, thought I was dying, and my lovely wife Sarah rented me Memento and Deep Impact, which turned out to not be a good movie.
Deep Impact is not great.
But I had the flu.
It's also not a Christopher Nolan movie.
It is also not a Christopher Nolan
I had the flu, so when they're flying into the asteroid at the end to sacrifice themselves, I started to weep because I was so sick. I didn't see the sun. But
is that Elijah Wood, or is that the
that's the Robert Duvall's in it.
Yeah, no, but there's the kid. It's either Elijah Wood or it's
was he
Daniel Radcliffe.
You might be right.
It's you know how they look alike.
It was Elijah Wood. A little bit.
They're
right.
I'm not sure.
I think it was Elijah Wood
because they climb up onto the hills at the end and they just split it just in time.
Classic.
Yeah, Nolan. I would credit Nolan with changing comic book movies.
Yep.
With the Dark Knight trilogy.
Elijah Wood. And Deep Impact.
Because that was the first time you really saw a realistic spin.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still Batman. He's still flying around on tiny cables and has an awesome car, but it was way more believable.
Yeah.
Because he actually could get hurt. And I really like the progression of how he made him taking this armor that his company was developing and purposing it for himself. And I don't know that I've ever been disappointed by Nolan. Anything I've seen. He's quite good.
He is. Yeah.
His most well-known film is probably Inception,
which is phenomenal.
That's what I would think. That's probably, if you knew a movie that was directed by him, it'd probably be Inception. His most recent film was Tenet, and the movie before that he made a movie called
Dunkirk.
Dunkirk, and then Interstellar. Mm-hmm. Dunkirk is the least Nolan-y of all of his films.
Very historical.
Yeah,
very good.
But there's a lot of him in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's it's the least Nolan-y of all, except for the fact that there's not a lot of deep character, because that would be one of the
with a Nolan movie, you're not going to get a lot of colors either. He has a palette that he likes to stick with. It's more metallic and blue.
And everyone has suits. Everyone is just like, they have, even in Batman, I mean, Bruce Wayne is an excuse because he has all the money, but like, you know, you just always have like Tenet or Interstellar, you know, there's characters in Interstellar. Inception, everyone in Inception has like
suits.
Interstellar I had to watch twice because the first time through I was like, I watched it again and I liked it.
I couldn't watch it a second time.
Yeah, I have to watch it. I have to watch it. I've only seen Interstellar once. I'd have to watch it a second time.
Yeah.
Interstellar is about, so basically, like, in a nutshell, I'm going to like try to not spoil like too much for anybody, but essentially it's like, you know, what was the first one? Memento, his major film Memento is the first. It's about a guy that loses his memory, or he can only remember in like, 5-minute increments or something like that. And then his memory gets wiped. And so he tattoos himself to remind him. So, cool. So his life is constantly in this state of him reminding himself his own story. And he has to continually remind, you know, like, who thinks of that? Like,
the scene that really stood out is when Carrie-Anne Moss is in that movie and she is antagonizing him hard. She's just going after this guy verbally, just making him furious. And it's the star, Guy Pearce plays the main character, and he ends up slugging her. And then he goes outside and she just waits for him to forget what he just did. And then he comes back inside and he's like, what happened? And she totally frames this other guy for hitting her. It was just that part of the movie was just super powerful for me. I thought it was super great. Yeah. I didn't even see that movie coming. Like I said, my wife just like, this looks good. And it was really good.
Good work, Sarah.
Good job, Sarah.
Oh, his next film, would that be The Prestige?
After Memento? No. Insomnia was after that one,
Insomnia.
Which is also good. It's also a little bit less like Nolan-y feeling.
Yeah.
But still good.
You can't put Al Pacino, yeah.
Robin Williams is the villain.
Weirdo.
And it does a great job. But
fantastic.
So that's fun.
Then we have The Prestige.
No. I think Dark Knight. Or Batman Begins.
Oh, the Batman Begins.
Batman Begins, yeah.
And then The Prestige, and then The Dark Knight, and then Inception, and then The Dark Knight Rises.
Once he made Dark Knight, the guy can pick and choose what he does.
Whatever he wants.
That movie, still.
So essentially, he revolutionized, in a way, how you can make a superhero film. Mm-hmm. He's made movies about time travel. He's made movies about magic. He's made movies about black holes. And he's made more movies about time travel. He's made movies about like infiltrating people through their dreams.
That's a good one.
Like a lot of it is mental exercise too, because even Insomnia, like the hook with that is this. Al Pacino is he's like a detective and he has to solve this. He's assigned to a case that's in way north Alaska, yeah. And it's never nighttime and he can't sleep.
He's taping up aluminum foil on his windows so he can try to get a nap in. And
yeah. So anyway, but because he's not able to sleep, all these things start happening and he can't tell if he's like making them up or if they're happening or anyway. So he's like trying to solve this crazy thing.
Amazing.
With a guy after him and he's not sure what's real and what's not real.
While we're at this depot, Al Pacino, good or bad?
I honestly don't have much experience with Al Pacino.
Heat's great.
And he's in The Godfather. Okay.
I'm just trying to think of what I've actually seen with Al Pacino. I've seen Insomnia and Heat.
I saw The Godfather.
He's
great in Godfather.
Godfather. I watched it the first time 3 years ago. I grew up loving movies. I grew up in the theater, and I think I resisted watching them because the people that were telling me it was great are not people that I would consider credible for having taste. And I watched it.
Was it us?
No, it was not you guys. It was not. No
Back in the 90s when we were
watched it, and honestly, it was as good as everyone.
It is. Said. It's one of the great, if not the greatest movie. It's one of the.
It's close, yeah.
Like it's
very well done. Al Pacino is actually likable in it.
No offense,
Al Pacino.
That's not nice. No, he's done some stuff I like. He plays the same guy. At some point, he's gonna yell at you.
Al Pacino's watching this. Well, screw you, Bill.
Yeah, he's screaming at the intro right now.
Screw you, pal.
Get this podcast.
Bill Hader does a great Al Pacino.
He does a great a lot of people, but he does do a great Al Pacino. Bill Hader, not a director. Well, is he a director?
I don't know.
I haven't seen enough of Barry to know. But anyway.
I have no idea.
He's probably directed some of those documentary now things. But anyway.
Oh, goodness.
We talked about Christopher Nolan for a while.
We did. What's another?
So other directors. Takai Waititi is one of my favorites. We talked about him a little bit. So definitely check out his stuff.
Yeah, Takai Waititi. Most recent movie, Jojo Rabbit.
Making a new Star Wars movie.
Thank God.
For those of you who are Star Wars fans and enjoy The Mandalorian, he directed, I believe, the
finale episode.
And then the last two episodes.
Oh. Okay.
I thought he filmed one in the beginning, and then I thought it was the last two.
He plays the robot.
He plays the robot.
The assassin droid in there.
The robot.
The ending of The Mandalorian, the last one or two episodes, whatever it is, the ones that you're like...
a week away.
Well, these are like super good.
That's true. At the time of this recording.
And he's probably going to direct the whole thing, because at this point, why wouldn't you just like have him direct everything you...
I'm a big Jon Favreau fan, too.
He's an easy guy. Yeah,
Jon Favreau. I like Jon, but I like Jon as more of a like big, like a producer, like kind of the big picture guy, like running and doing and inspiring and working, maybe more than the like he's actually the guy directing the like actual film. But I'm a big Jon Favreau. Elf is great.
It's a family tradition, and Jon Favreau brought that to us.
I mean, he really did. He did. I mean, that's a piece of Christmas like tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I would have never seen it coming.
Chris,
the only thing I knew of Jon Favreau was Swingers. And Rudy. That was it.
Oh, he directed Rudy.
No, he was in it.
Oh, he was in Rudy.
Yeah, he played Sean Astin's friend.
My first introduction to him was Iron Man,
which is phenomenal. It's a great movie.
Yeah, it kicked off the cinematic universe.
He really did.
He had a big hand in doing that, and now he's got a hand in the Star Wars universe with Disney and Mandalorian.
You know, I saw something when the Avengers like buzz was like, you know, with the last two movies when Infinity War and then Endgame came out, and that was just on the rage and that was everywhere. I heard somebody talk about like a really interesting foreshadowing scene in Iron Man, that if you watch Iron Man 1, the first scene with Tony is a close-up of his hand.
Really?
Like, that's the opening scene. First, we are introduced to Tony, and it's a close-up of his hand. That's the first scene, how you're introduced to him. And I just saw this really interesting piece foreshadowing, like, how Infinity War and Endgame would all go. Yeah. Or at least a pretty good idea of what the story was going to be and how it was going to go. And that's why it was great, and that's why it did so well.
The Marvel Universe has had some great directors.
The universe
Joss
is
Whedon,
great.
Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah.
I forget who did Black Panther, but I know it was a good one.
That's the only one that got nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
Once again.
Bombay.
Yeah.
Marvel Cinematic Universe is really good. Who directed? Was it the Russo brothers that directed The Winter Soldier?
Yes,
because that
was their first one,
really
and that's how they got the job to do Infinity War and Endgame, was because they did Winter Soldier, which was just kind of this like almost more of a little bit of a kind of an offshoot like one, and then all of a sudden it was like, this is like one of the best.
Yeah,
like,
it's
movies.
my personal favorite.
Maybe the best one.
Like, well, yeah, you know, like
it's my personal favorite. Marvel movie.
Yeah, like, and that's how they got the job to do the last two Avengers, was because they were like, oh, this was actually amazing. Like,
yeah,
let's let him do that again.
Yeah.
Okay, favorite directors, just in a blitz. Brad Bird's up there. We talked about Brad Bird for Iron Giant, but I mean, he was on a tear for a while because he did Iron Giant, and then he did The Incredibles, and then he did Ratatouille. That was like 1, 2, 3.
That's where it's at.
They're all great.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
All great movies. So he's got to be up there on the list. Hayao Miyazaki.
Absolutely.
Just they're just, if you don't know.
It's art.
It is. It's what it is.
If you pause any of his movies at any time, it's art.
Yeah.
It could be a painting.
It's beautiful.
And in the world of like...
Do you want to tell us who Hayao Miyazaki...
No.
If you don't know, you don't deserve. Oh.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, judgment has been passed.
So he's a trailblazer in animation. He's talked about retiring a number of times, and he just can't.
He's too good.
Stop animating.
I feel like he would go mad. It would be like, didn't they say that like the great, like who was it, like what are the great composers, like Beethoven or something, was like on his deathbed, and somebody was playing a piano, and they stopped, and he like on his deathbed, deathly like ill, jumped out of his bed and finished the piece. Because he couldn't, like, he was just so, it consumed him that he was going mad, not doing anything, you know? Like, so I feel like when you get to somebody that has that level of creativity.
And you almost have that, like, love-hate relationship with it. With, like, I almost wish that I could stop, but I can't. I can't not do it.
Not that I will compare that. So, like, I think most people would say Eminem's the greatest rapper of all time. Like,
I would say.
Yeah. Like, I think it's hard to debate that. Like, but you could. But, like, when you see Eminem, like in interviews, like his ability to write and rhyme is so, the creative gift is so strong there that he's like, it drives him nuts. He's like, I can't do anything. He says without having like lyrics in my, like without rhymes and lyrics, like he's like, it's almost like a curse. Like, it's almost like I can't do anything. I can't drive to the grocery store without like thinking of raps, like, you know, and like new rhymes and new like flows. And so I assume that it's probably pretty similar to when you have somebody like a great director like that. Like he would probably, if he retired, he'd probably go mad.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's got his own way or a very traditional way of making movies or animating too. And so in a world that has had Pixar and had all of these, like his studio is still animators like doing, it's all like hand drawn. There's a little bit of computer stuff that's happened in some of the more recent movies over the last decades, but it's all very traditional.
And his studio is?
Studio Ghibli.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it called that, Darren?
It's Italian. Shoot.
So he's a Japanese director, but he named his studio after an Italian.
It has something to do with flight, I think.
Yeah.
The word Ghibli.
Yeah, I think that's it.
That's pretty neat.
But all of his movies, they have a scene at least of flying.
Somebody flying.
Like it depicts flying. Which is cool. And a lot of his movies are about flying as well. So Porco Rosso is one of his movies, and it's got a pilot.
You said that was one of his favorites, didn't you?
Yeah, it's one of his favorites. He was going to make a sequel of that, actually. That was of
that's
all the
crazy
movies.
To me.
Yeah. I need to watch it again.
I just did.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's a pig that flies a plane.
Yeah.
I have a hard time.
It's adorable.
And it has a mustache.
He does have a mustache.
It's adorable.
And then
the more you're describing this to me, the more this sounds like an amazing film.
It sounds like a great movie.
This sounds an amazing film. A pig with a mustache flying and playing around.
Michael Keaton plays him in the English dub.
All right, that's amazing.
I know, I need to watch it again. Castle in the Sky, so it's a whole city that's in the sky.
Princess Mononoke.
Princess Mononoke has a lot of... Princess Mononoke is great.
It's so good.
It's
not... I'm going to say Spirited Away.
I know, Spirited Away.
It's the greatest thing he ever did. I mean, it's so good.
Yeah. But anyway, so they're all... It's great. Every Miyazaki movie has a... You just know what it is. So... I mean, also adamantly being a Japanese animator, his films are not anime movies, and he'll say that because it's like they're animated films, and they're not in that box.
If you have HBO Max, they're all on there,
all
streaming with a subscription.
Yeah, definitely check him out.
Yeah.
So
wow,
but he's great. In that same vein, I've been to Japan. I'm a fan of Japan a little bit.
You are. That's one of Day Day's things. Day Day loves Japan. That's his.
Yeah,
that's Day Day's thing.
So there's another director named Mamoru. I hope I pronounced his name right. Mamoru Hosoda. So he's lesser known, but some of my favorite films have been made by him. So like Summer Wars and Wolf Children and Boy and the Beast are really good too. So another one that you probably, if anybody you haven't heard of, it's probably him. But check out those movies as well.
What's his name?
Mamoru Hosoda. Yep.
That sounds very
good. He worked on Samurai Champloo, and then made movies, and they're really good.
Well, those are both really great.
Yep.
Get involved. Get to your Japanese directors.
You must.
Learn your stuff. I have a couple directors that I enjoy, but I find that a lot of directors today, it's almost hard sometimes to like a director because, like, so I'll give you an example. I like Quentin Tarantino, some of his stuff, and parts of a lot of his movies.
Hateful
Sure.
Eight would be on a list of movies that I watched, and I'm not going to watch again.
No.
I haven't watched it.
Don't.
Yeah.
I
heard there's no redeeming.
There's no
Nothing.
redemption. We watched The Hateful Eight,
Nothing.
which was directed and written by Quentin Tarantino, and that was one of the big regrets of my life, of my movie life, because that movie was
just dark.
Yeah, there was just
you don't feel good.
Nope,
you don't.
No good.
You
feelings.
don't feel good.
There's no
anything.
hope. There's no redemption. But he makes a lot of great films. But he is one of those directors, similar to another director that I really partially enjoy. Is a director named Wes Anderson.
Oh yeah.
Who I'm a big fan of. He makes some very aesthetically pleasing films.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's very much focused on the artwork, the palettes, the coloring. But for some reason, these guys just think it's necessary to throw some
bombs.
So yeah, just some nasty stuff like in the movie. You're kind of like, well, why? Like, but why though?
Yeah,
and
I don't know. Yeah,
and I would say that's one of my. That's one of the things that I would also say that I admire so much about Christopher Nolan is that he makes these great films and doesn't have the need to put just like some like gross nonsense in his movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if the story's that good, you don't need it. It's like everybody trying to somehow hypnotize me into wanting to watch Game of Thrones. And I watched the first couple episodes and there's nudity, incest.
That stuff's just like basically like porn.
Like you just got to get through.
You just have to get all the people having sex with each other and like killing each other and like.
And the music I listen to is a lot the same too. If there's a lot of language in it,
you just have to get through all the sex.
Yeah, I don't even bother because if you're that good, if you're a really good storyteller or an artist, you don't need that stuff.
Yeah,
and I'm not like an old man. Well,
no. I got you. I agree. And there's also something I think about too with like I find with certain stories or movies that like there's a reality to it. Like life has sex in it. Like life has violence. Mm-hmm. Like life has profanity. Life has hard situations. Like, like disturbing things even. Like that's a part of the world we're in. Like, and so I know one of my favorite like quote / pieces, I don't actually know the quote verbatim, but is by C.S. Lewis, and where he talks about like the danger of removing like from your stories any sort of anything that's disturbing or violent, or he said, because then you spend your whole life like not actually being prepared and ready and understanding that there is there's an evil in the world, and so because sometimes I find that there are great stories that have, even the Bible, like the Bible is filled with like sex and violence mm-hmm. and like just some really ratchet stuff is in the Bible, because that's part of the story. Yeah. So, but I think that like I find with like two of these directors is it's not necessary to the story, mm-hmm. Like it's been put in here and it's like you put that in there for whatever reason you decided to, but it really didn't need to be a part of that story. And that's what, anyways.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So it's a bummer because I would like love to just fully be able to love these directors' films, but I can't.
Yeah, Tarantino.
Because I'm like,
yeah. But I think there's a creativity within everybody, and I think that's something. Maybe we're not all gonna go make a Hollywood grade movie, but perhaps there's just a lacking of people going after writing stories, telling stories that are worth telling without selling it with mm-hmm. cheap things that mm-hmm. draw attention or have a shock value that are,
Yeah.
So
go right.
Maybe we just all need to be encouraged to just create. Like, you have an idea, just write it down. Mm-hmm. Just pursue it. See what comes of it.
If you're thinking of writing a movie about a girl that saves the world, don't. We have enough. We have enough.
Bill Coleman has spoken.
No more Hunger Games or Divergence or whatever the heck else they're going to do. And they all suck. Well, Hunger Games was okay, but...
Star Wars. So you're telling me we're going to have 3 more movies with Han Solo and Luke Skywalker? No, we're going to give you somebody else who can do everything.
Yeah.
For some reason.
J.J. Abrams. All you did is take A New Hope and put a girl in Luke's role. That's all you did. That's it.
We have our opinions about those movies as well.
Yes, we do.
There's opinions everywhere.
There's a lot of opinions.
But let's look at the hope of good.
But we have a podcast and you don't. So
I guess the only thing you did do different is Luke had to be trained. She just has to close her mind and concentrate for 5 seconds, and then she can be the Sith Lord. Wham, wham. Just so stupid.
Feeling a lot of tension here.
I did hear Kathleen Kennedy got fired. If that's true, then prayers have been answered.
Bill Coleman has been fasting and praying for 5 years
that
Kathleen Kennedy would be fired.
Ever since I've been alive, well, you guys too, but it's a little different because A New Hope came out right when I was born. So it has been my childhood into adulthood. I just love Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of woke it. Is that what we're going to call that? It's just...
They woke it.
It was weak.
You done woked it.
You woked it.
Yeah.
You broke it. Go woke, get broke. Is that what it is? Get woke, go broke.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Never heard
You can coin it.
I've seen it. I can't coin that. I've seen it.
Yeah, but that person probably didn't have a podcast.
Yeah.
So.
That's true.
So it's your thing now.
But yeah, hopefully there'll be some good stuff.
Fire Kathleen Kennedy. That's all.
Jon Favreau being involved with Mandalorian is really good. I'm excited about Taika's Star Wars movie. I think there's a couple other the Obi-Wan miniseries.
I know. I can't wait.
Happen. That should be really cool.
Ewan McGregor came back.
But I think,
why wouldn't you?
Right. But even in that, I mean, I know there's people who don't like The Mandalorian. There's people who probably aren't excited about. I know. Taika Waititi.
Really?
But there's people who love the new Star Wars movies. There's people who really don't. There's people who love the prequel trilogy. There's people who really don't. But I think Star Wars just gets so big. It's such a phenomenon that I don't know if you'll have something that's something Star Wars that will ever be universally loved again, because everyone is so strongly attached to it.
Have you guys ever seen The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance?
That's one of the greats.
Yeah, that movie is so good. Jimmy Stewart
is really
good. I will say the Man Who Shot Liberty Valance is one of my favorite movie titles.
That's a great
of all time.
Everything's good about it. James Coburn.
It's a beautiful film too, and I like that it's one of John Wayne's maybe dark is too strong, but it's one of his more he's not front and center.
It is more of a supporting role.
Which is rare for John, because John loved to be the middle of the attention for everything.
Yes, he did.
And so that was his thing.
Those theaters.
That was his thing. And so I kind of enjoy that he played more of a kind of a quieter, a darker supporting role in the film, and I thought that was really cool. So
he was in some great movies. Every year I watch The Quiet Man for St. Patrick's Day. My family's not Irish, but I love corned beef. Love it.
and John Wayne.
I get it all in one movie.
For a while, I know John Wayne held the record for being in the most movies or something, because the dude has been in 100 and something films.
Yeah,
it's nuts. The
amount
of films.
Not all great, but
he was also
a lot of them not great. What?
He was also in an episode of I Love Lucy.
Really?
Yeah, he was. And not Ralph. What was it? Ed. Was that his name? Ed always talked about how he had a strong hand. Fred. He said, I got a strong handshake. I'm going to crush John Wayne's hand.
Yeah.
So John Wayne was himself.
He was.
John Wayne
playing himself, yeah.
And Ricky got to him before Fred did. Somebody was like, Fred, you let him push John let him squeeze your hand. And he did. And John Wayne acted like Fred was crushing his hand. Good episode.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun.
When did you watch that?
What?
When did you watch it?
I watched a ton of.
Was it in syndication?
I watched a lot. All right, I love film and stuff. my mom doesn't love film as much, but she has her niche with older stuff. So there's a lot of older movies. I've seen Meet Me in St. Louis. I don't know how many.
It's a good one.
Many times. It is a good one. But I watched a lot of older stuff. And she, growing up, like, she enjoyed, I mean, she was born in the 60s, and but a lot of what she watched was from, like, the 30s, 40s. You know, she liked older stuff, so that's a lot of what I watched growing up. So we watched I Love Lucy, and we watched
Mr. Ed.
We didn't watch Mr. Ed as much, but
Beverly Hillbillies.
We watched
that
a lot. Andy Griffith. Bonanza. My mom is a big Michael Landon fan. So we watched Bonanza. And Little House on the Prairie. A lot of that.
Before he was a family man, he was a teenage werewolf.
What?
He was in a movie called I Was a Teenage Werewolf.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that hair he had in the 70s, I believe it.
Just a mane.
I'd believe it.
Wow. Man, what a time.
But
those were glory days.
Yeah. I don't know who directed it. I don't know if we're still on the director question.
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that. But I appreciate whoever directed one of my other favorite movies is 12 Angry Men. That came out of the 50s.
Oh, yeah.
And
the black and white one?
Black and white one. Mm-hmm. That movie's great because it's like all in one. It's just a movie in one room.
The remake's quite good, too. George
with
C.
Vince
Scott's
Vaughn. Was
he in there? I know Tony Danza, I believe, was in it.
Oh, was it Tony Danza?
I feel like 12 Angry Men's the movie that, like, as an inspiring filmmaker, you dream you could make a movie like that because you could do it on, like, no budget with, like, a really simple camera.
Yeah.
But just, like, it's like a one in a million, like, to be able to get the, like, right dialogue and actors.
Like Napoleon.
And timing.
Right chemistry.
And the right chemistry. Yeah. But I feel like 12 Angry Men's, like, the ultimate, like, inspiring entry-level filmmaker wishes like they want to find their 12 Angry Men. There's where I can just get literally I have some guys
now
in
make
a room
magic happen
and I make history, like, and I've got like a DSLR and I make history, like, yeah, that's like the dream, you know. Like,
but that truly is a good film. That's another you chew on it, you learn stuff.
That is a good one.
You become a little bit more human.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Excellent Gregory movie. Peck.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about Alfred Hitchcock?
I like a lot of his stuff.
Rear Window?
Rear Window with Jimmy Stewart. That's a great... Pretty much Jimmy Stewart's in it. I'm going to watch it. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Philadelphia Story. Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn.
Yep. Philadelphia Story is good.
Wonderful movie.
I think that's the only time Jimmy Stewart won an Oscar, actually, too, was Philadelphia Story.
That movie is just great. Oh, man, is that fun. It opens up just wonderful.
Yeah. It's good. That's actually something about older films that, I mean, there's great actors of all the generations, and, you know, I think there's a niche or like a style, you know, for the different generations of movies. But so I'm not saying that modern movies don't have good actors and they don't have good chemistry, but there's something about like movies like the Philadelphia Story that's, you're just so entertained. It's just like so.
The dialogue's right.
Yeah.
The actors are right.
Yeah. It's a little bit more like theatrical, perhaps, like maybe less cinematic, you know.
And I was going to say, I think that that's a part of it, is that it was cinema, like, being younger still. A lot of actors, like, their training wasn't cinematic training, it was theater training. And so you would have been used to this, like, a culture of, like, me interacting with you and us and what we're doing and how we say it and where we face and what we position is like a really important part of how we're going to project ourselves as actors. Whereas I would say today it's probably more common for actors to just say, well, I'm just going to show up and say my lines, and most of the movie is going to be editing.
Right.
You know, like, and so the role, like, I think the art of acting maybe is less. And that's why Samuel L. Jackson's one of my favorite actors, because I think that he is one of the few actors today that I think holds to that old, like, acting gift of understanding that, like, he's in a movie and he needs to act in a way that, like, draws his, like, he's acting with an awareness that there are people watching what he's doing. And I think he holds on to that art really well for, like, a modern actor. And that's why Samuel L. Jackson's one of my favorite actors. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, A Time to Kill was just an incredible movie.
I've never seen that one.
I haven't seen it either. Full disclosure.
Being 100% transparent right now. I have not seen the movie.
Bill leaves. Bill's out.
Bill out.
Matthew McConaughey, Samuel L. Jackson. Matthew McConaughey is a lawyer, and Samuel L. Jackson's daughter the little girl gets abducted, raped, and abused by 2 white guys. Well, Samuel L. Jackson shows up at the courthouse and guns them both down. So the whole movie is his trial. I'm not going to tell you any more, because if you haven't seen it, you have to see it. Career-defining roles from both men.
Wow.
I was a fan of both of them, just from this movie. Sandra Bullock's also very good in it. Donald Sutherland, who is always good.
I like Donald Sutherland.
He's great.
That was like feeling like Bill's describing a fine wine. And then Donald Sutherland.
And I smell the Sutherland.
Oh, he's always good. He's always
Write that down. Time to Kill. That's homework.
Got it.
I love your penmanship.
Is that your own signature?
Was that shorthand or longhand?
Wow.
I can't believe you haven't seen that.
Is good. I think that's why Samuel L. Jackson works so well in like Tarantino movies, because Tarantino is another one who like directs knowing that like this isn't real.
This is a movie.
This is a movie.
He just likes making movies.
So it's all dressed up and it's all colorful and extravagant because it's a film. Like it's not.
Kill Bill seriously feels like Tarantino's like, how much do we have left? Like, how much film do we have left?
Let's just keep going. Let's just keep
2
going.
movies just don't make much sense.
But it like, so I heard that the story with Quentin Tarantino, like how he became, like got into directing, was that he used to work at a film store and he watched every film in the store. Like he was like, I'm going to watch every single film at this store. So like the earliest, oldest films all the way up through like everything. He watched every single movie. And that's how he that's how he became a director, was that he was just like, all right, well, I've seen like most of the movies made like ever. Yeah. So I'm going to just start making these. And it makes sense because if you look at like his movies are movies for movies.
Yeah, Reservoir Dogs.
Reservoir Dogs is good.
Good movie. I think from what I hear, From Dusk Till Dawn was like the first script he sold. Not the first movie he made.
Was that Robert Rodriguez? Who did From Dusk Till Dawn?
It was Robert Rodriguez. He directed it. Okay. Tarantino starred and wrote.
Yeah.
And had what's his butt in there?
Was it George Clooney?
George Clooney. Kept wanting to say George Lucas, but I know it wasn't him.
With the neck tattoo, like George Lucas, with like a Hitman neck tattoo.
Huge,
but he still wears a plaid shirt tucked into his jeans. Like it's all the rest of it.
He's killing vampires.
Still George Lucas.
I'd watch that.
I would watch that.
George Lucas as himself. I would watch that.
Killing vampires. That's too good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Actors. As long as we've kind of transitioned, segued, what are some of your favorite actors?
John Wayne.
Samuel Jackson.
Oh, man. Absolutely. There are a lot of actors.
I mean, I guess the one that I have to talk about is Robin Williams. Because
Darren is a big Robin Williams fan. That's one of his things.
That's still a sore subject.
It is.
People have died over the years, actors, and that was probably the one for me that when it happened, I was in complete disbelief. Just because this is the guy I was like Little Bill, watching Mork and Mindy. You know, he hadn't really made a movie yet, but he's playing this crazy alien. And man, Hook.
I will. Hook, you can just say the word Hook, and I'll start crying.
Darren will start to weep.
Hook is amazing.
Hook is amazing. So, I watched a documentary, like one of those YouTube documentaries about Hook. Like it was like half an hour long, and apparently there was somewhere, supposedly there is a Steven Spielberg director's cut of that exists because it was like they filmed like 4 hours of this movie. Yeah, and they cut a lot of it, obviously. As you do with a movie, but I would watch all of it.
Oh, heck yeah.
The whole thing. But yeah, Robin Williams. So yeah, same thing. Just like growing up was always, I didn't watch all of his movies as a kid, but not all appropriate for that. But even as a kid, like there's a lot of movies that were for me. Like I love, Flubber's not going to go down as like, this is a film for the ages, but it's one that I loved, and Aladdin
is one of the greatest Disney.
Yeah, Hook, and just Robin Williams is one of the most effortlessly lovable people, and so funny, and just so like he had a way, I think, in his films, like you felt like you knew him, like. It was more than just like, oh, that was a good performance, but like he just connected with people. He connected with people so well. And I think that one of the hard things about his like passing was you had all this outpouring of like everyone he ever worked with or ever knew him, who was just like, he was the best guy. And they all have like stories about like their life is better because Robin Williams did, this or whatever. And even fans, of which I'm one of, like, yeah, like my part of my love for movies, or even just like, I'll sit in front of a camera and I'll talk about movies for a while, is because Robin Williams made me love stories. He made me love storytelling and made me appreciate it when it's done well and impactful. So, Robin Williams is definitely up there for me for, my favorites. So, really, really, really good. And
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray is also good.
It's another funny guy just from Ghostbusters. All his lines in that movie, I quote him all the time.
I heard that Bill Murray's gotten to the point, like, age in his life where he just does, like, really, like random crazy things because he can. Mm-hmm. And that's, like, his thing right now is he just goes around and, like, he'll, like, crash people's parties that he, like, has no idea who they are. Yeah, and he'll just show up and, like, walk into somebody's house that he, like, has no idea who anybody here is, and he'll, like, one of my favorite stories is that there was somebody tells this story, and it's just like a dude, like a random dude, and he tells a story about how one day he was, like, sitting at a Burger King and he was, like, eating, like, his meal by himself, and all of a sudden, what's his name?
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray.
Okay. I know there's someone else that was supposed to be in this story.
No, there's not.
Craig T. Nelson.
Samuel Jackson. No, and Bill Murray walks up to his table, grabs a fry, doesn't say a word to him, grabs a fry off of his thing, dips it in his ketchup and eats it, and goes, "Nobody's going to believe you," and then walks away.
Oh my gosh. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. And since we've stopped here at this depot, this is something that has to be addressed.
Okay.
The Ghostbuster movies.
Okay.
The first one is magic. Like the song says, magic, magic. Uh-huh. The second one...
Was that a B.O.B.? Was that a B.O.B. reference?
I don't know.
I don't think so. Magic.
It's in the movie.
Yeah. Oh, got it.
It's not B.O.B.
It's like when
I thought you were just referencing B.O.B. Haley Williams.
Planes in the night sky. No. Anyway.
No.
Not that. Second one wasn't very good. So Bill Murray doesn't want to do anymore because they can't get the right script for him. The third one.
Is that the most recent one? The Abomination? The one with the lady one?
Yeah.
And what's his name?
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth is in it?
And everyone...
Thor?
No, I haven't seen it, so I...
All the women in my life, they all defend this movie.
Really?
You just don't like it because it's women and blah, blah. And then they all go, and Chris Hemsworth just made that movie. I'm like, you're telling me...
Doesn't he not say anything in the whole movie?
No, he does.
Oh, okay.
The movie that switched all the genders to get you to watch it. Your favorite thing was a man from that movie. And the new one coming out. Have you seen any previews for that?
I've seen the trailer for it. It looks cool.
It's Egon's kids or grandkids, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm actually cautiously excited for that one.
What's his face from Stranger Things is in that?
Yep. And Paul Rudd.
Finn Wolfhard. Oh yeah, Paul
Rudd.
Rudd
is in it.
I feel like Ghostbusters was like the zombie land of the 80s.
How so?
I don't know.
A lot less violent.
Like
Just,
what?
like,
what about
like
Zombieland?
but it's like this kind of cult, like generational, like your generation like loves Ghostbusters 1, like, and I feel like that's like for our generation what like I feel like it's this like kind of obscure, strange kind of a cult film.
Yeah,
like has to do with some violence, some snarky comments, sarcastic and sassy people in it who just don't like care about anything. Bill Murray is in Zombieland.
He is. He's probably the best.
Spoilers.
Best part of the movie. I mean,
the snowball truck is also pretty funny.
We have to have a rule: if a movie is more than 3 years old, we can talk about it. Yeah, unless it's amazing, like A Time to Kill. I will not say anything.
Like A Time to Kill.
It is. Kiefer's in it.
Kiefer and other Sutherland. You get both Sutherland.
Kiefer and
Aren't they related?
Yeah, they're father.
Yeah, they're father and son. Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Yeah, they're both in that. And Kiefer plays like a white supremacist, and he's phenomenal. Big Kiefer fan. Always have it since Lost Boys. Young Guns.
He's in Stand By Me.
Oh, he's Ace.
Yep.
Ace Merrill.
Sounds like a very Gen X name.
It's a Stephen King movie.
It's good, though.
River Phoenix. Corey Feldman.
Will Wheaton. And the other guy.
And
Jerry O'Connell.
Yeah, I was going to say the guy that was fat and he got thin.
And then he was in Kangaroo Jack.
Oh.
With Anthony Anderson.
Wow.
Jerry O'Connell was great in Stand By Me. He was a really entertaining part of that movie.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Actors. It's worth, whatever. We were on Bill Murray for long enough. This has one of my favorite dreams that I've ever had in my entire life. This is a legitimate dream that I had when I was in high school.
I'm in.
Short dream.
Okay.
In my dream, I wake up. I'm still dreaming. I'm not actually awake. Plot twist. I'm still dreaming.
Within a dream.
I go upstairs to make some coffee, and Bill Murray is in my kitchen, and we have a normal I'm not surprised that Bill Murray is in the kitchen. I'm just more like happy that he's there.
Oh,
and
Bill, my buddy
we're talking.
Bill.
We're having a conversation. I don't remember what about. And then the coffee that I'm making is done, and I'm about to pour it into a cup. But Bill Murray also has some coffee that he's about to pour into the same cup for some reason, and we're both about to pour, and he goes, "Wait! Don't cross the streams."
Oh my goodness.
And then we both laugh. In the dream, we have a moment of
right.
And that's the
you
entire
did not
dream.
have a dream like that.
The entire dream.
No.
Legitimately. And then I actually wake up. I love that happened.
No way.
Yep.
No way.
It happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
That's incredible. Don't cross the streams.
Don't cross the streams. And then that's the dream.
That's amazing.
And then you wake up.
That's
great.
Good dreamer.
That was a good dream.
Yep.
How did that happen?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway.
People are crazy.
They are.
Wow. Absolutely amazing. Well, gentlemen, do you have any closing thoughts on movies? Anything that's pressing that you need the people to know? Any deep-seated convictions similar to those of your disdain for the Academy or Warrior? Sean Penn. Sean Penn.
We don't like Sean Penn.
We don't like Sean Penn.
Good.
No, I would say if you listen to this and you enjoyed us kind of talking a bit about this a little bit less structured, I'm excited to talk about, once we'll have some homework to do and we'll talk more specifically about we've got a lot of ideas. Like here's the best of the 80s or here's top of all time or animated or all these different things.
Yeah.
But there's circling back to what I was saying before, is there's power to stories and storytelling done well. So, I think it's easy to get lost in entertainment or easy to I don't know. Yeah, we live in a world full of vices, perhaps. We're I can get consumed with video games. I can get consumed with movies. I can get consumed with. But when we understand the power that's there with stories, and seeking after good storytelling, challenging storytelling, even storytelling that's like scary. Like I like what you brought up with C.S. Lewis talking about that. Jim Henson said something similar in an interview about The Dark Crystal too, because it's such a departure from like the Muppets to like, oh, those are creepy puppets. Like The Dark Crystal is really similar about like just addressing fear and in storytelling, even for kids, like that, you know, it's important to present something to be afraid of, but then seeing that like you don't stop at being afraid and like run away. Like there's things that are going to be scary, but you have to see a hero overcome that scary thing, and that you also can overcome the scary things. So, yeah, definitely, I would say I would encourage you to seek after good art, good storytelling. But your life is a story too. So just pursue like what story am I telling? Like with my day, with my interactions with people, what am I doing to make my life the best story that I can tell myself? And I think if we remember the purpose to the breath that we have, that the story will be over at some point. What story do I want to have told when I'm to the end of it?
Darren the movie.
Darren the movie.
Darren the movie.
Wow. Can I get... Who do I want to play?
It's a feeler. Ooh. Right to the heart.
Yeah, absolutely. So, can I get Jeff Bridges to play me?
To play
Old man Jeff. Yeah, I don't know how much older yeah. Anyway.
Old man Darren. That's good.
Before we get derailed, though. Anyway, good art, tell good stories. There you go.
Yep. That's good. Something that I think I've realized even lately in my own life, that there's so much with social media, and so much of our media now is designed to be consumed quickly, and like the kind of, dopamine cycles or whatever they call it, like the quick release of like, oh, this is another piece of info, and it feels that dopamine center in your brain. And I find that I've even found it more difficult in recent years to just watch a movie, because I can get bored, like my brain gets used to just being fed like really quick pieces of information. So something that I'm trying to do personally, and also something I'm trying to do with my kids, is teaching them the importance of like watching a movie, and like to sit down and from beginning to end watch a story, and don't like make fun of the movie or like make comments the whole movie, or don't like scroll on your phone while you're like sit down and like invest yourself in a story. I think is actually a healthy practice, and then you can read a book. But first, watch a movie all the way through. So find some good movies. I think actually it's a good discipline to learn. Find a good movie and watch a story all the way through.
Yeah. And in future episodes, we hope to provide you with, we mentioned a couple in this, so that's a good start if you haven't seen any of the ones we talked about. But yeah, hopefully we'll give a good framework for some other hopefully good movies as well.
I agree. I'll end with a little bit of a backstory. When I was a kid, Genoa City, there was a rundown, crappy theater, but I went to school with the owner's kid. So if I mopped the floors after the movies, they'd let me sit there all day Saturday and just watch movies.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, and I'd buy the day-old popcorn. It was about a garbage bag full. It would last me all day. That's where I fell in love with watching movies. It didn't matter that I was in one of the worst theaters that there was. I really honestly caught a mouse once underneath my popcorn thing, because it was next to me. Caught it. But one thing I've learned in my love of movies is that it's okay to watch it black and white. A lot of people won't do it. They're afraid of it. I found that because of my grandma, mostly being the John Wayne fan that she was, I started watching all sorts of black and white movies, and the absence of color makes you pay far more attention to the story. And the acting isn't always the greatest. Back then, they had, actors that they had on contract, and they would make like 4 movies a year. So something was lost. But I would encourage all of you to just pick something. Look on any list. They're going to show you one of the greatest movies. Just watch it black and white. Give it a shot. I think you'll enjoy it. also Logan is in black and white.
Yeah, there is a black and white cut of Logan.
version of that, and it's far more powerful than the color one. It's incredible. So yeah, pay attention when you're watching. Like Jeremiah said, put your device away, watch the screen, don't have a conversation, enjoy the movie, and that's it. And keep watching. Hopefully, we can get some good lists here. Start out from way back and maybe move through
Let's see what happens.
The decades.
But yeah, for black and white. So just to recap at the end. So we did talk about Philadelphia Story. That's a winner of a movie. Black and white, really good. Meet Me in St. Louis is a great movie too. It's a cinema classic.
Man Who Shot Liberty Valance.
Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. 12 Angry Men. You mentioned another John Wayne movie that was really good too.
The Quiet Man.
Quiet Man, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's in color, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Good stuff.
Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah. See you next time.
Well, that was fun.
That was fun.